Hello everyone, welcome to Global Online. In this lecture, we are going to see NTA UGC NET Paper 1, and in this lecture, we are going to discuss 50 plus most expected MCQ on Teaching Aptitude unit, in which we are going to discuss the MCQ on whole unit. Okay, so do watch this lecture to clear all your doubt about the same, and you will receive my lecture every day at 7 in the morning. So do visit our channel every day at 7 and do watch my lecture to score more marks in the upcoming exam. Before we move forward, I want to tell you that we the Global Online has brought 2000 plus MCQ quick revision PDF in which you are going to get current affairs questions, previous year questions, most expected questions and most repeated questions for the paper 1. And this PDF is available just for ₹599. To get a PDF, contact on given number. अगर आप ये PDF लेके स्टडी करते हो तो मैं श्योर हूँ कि आपको 70-75 मार्क्स इजीली मिल जाएंगे और आपका पेपर 1 इजीली क्लियर हो जाएगा. What you are waiting for? Get the PDF and start your preparation today. Which of the following factor does not impact teaching? So here in this question they ask you, given which factor does not impact teaching, for which the first option is teacher knowledge, second one is classroom activity that encourage the learning, third one is social economic background of the teacher and the student, and the last one is learning through the experience. So here the teacher knowledge will affect the or will create the impact on the teaching, right? The classroom activity will also create the impact on the teaching, and learning through the experience will also create the impact on the teaching. But the social economic background of the teacher and the student will not have that impact on the teaching. Why? Because even if the students belong to the poor category or a rich category or belong to the any caste, we consider each and every student is equal in the school, right? So because of that, the social economic background of the teacher or the student will not create any impact on the teaching. So because of that, the correct answer for this question will be option number C, that is social economic background of the teacher and the student. Student-centric classroom is mean for. So here they ask you about the student-centric classroom, for which the first option is addressing individual differences, second one is reducing teacher-oriented lecture, third one is recalling the previous knowledge, and the last one is engaging the entire class. So here the student-centered learning applies to the many educational learning, teaching and support approaches that tackle the individual students, group of the student and specific learning needs, interests, preferences or a cultural background. The student center or which is also known as learner center approach in the teaching learning process, and in this approach the learner or a child and not the teacher is the main focus of the educational institution. So here the learner is the one who play the important role. Okay, it emphasizes the learning rather than the teaching. The more focus will be given on the learning process and not on the teaching. The overall goal of the education, according to this approach, the overall development of the child. The curriculum, according to this approach, should be based on the needs, interests, attitude, ability of the learner at a different level, so that it enables them to acquire the necessary skills, knowledge, attitude and a value for realizing their full potential. Okay. That means the correct answer for this question will be option number A, that is addressing individual differences. One of the factors does not influence the quality and the quantity of the learning. So in this question they ask you, given which factor does not influence the quality and the quantity of the learning, for which the first option is physical, then is social, then is facilitator and last one is the cultural. Okay, the factors that influence the learning will be the physical factor is there, mental factor is there, psychological factor is there, external factor is there, social factor is there. Okay, so under the physical factor there is a physical setting, classroom environment, infrastructure, noise free environment is there, right? So then is mental factor, then is facilitator factor, external factor is there, social factor is there. So overall we can say that the health, relation, society, culture, value, attitude are a key influencer of the learner, right? But the infrastructure or the material can be the less important than the other factor in the learning. So here all these factors have a influence on the quality and the quantity of the learning, but the physical factor have a less influence on the quality and the quantity of the learning, and because of that the correct answer for this question will be option number A. Under what learning experience conduct of field trip comes in? So here in this question they ask you, in given which learning experience the conduct of field trips comes in, for which the first option is enactive, second one is iconic, third one is symbolic, and the last one is the affective. Okay, so here it has been identified the three stages of cognitive representation, which include the enactive stage, iconic stage, and the symbolic stage. Under the enactive stage it refers the representation of knowledge through action. Learning by doing is the main principle, and they learn by physical action and sorting things in the memory. This included in the enactive stage. Second one is the iconic stage. It refers to the visual summarization of the image. The learner store the sensory image which are a visual one, and a symbolic is the, it refer to the use of words and other symbol. To describe the experience stores in the memory in the form of a symbol, that is a language. Here the correct answer for this question will be option number A, that is enactive, because here in this we consider the learning by doing is the main principle. Okay. Which of the following is not a teacher related factor affecting the teaching? So here in this question they ask you, given which of the following is not the teacher related factor affecting the teaching? For this the first option is knowledge of the subject, second one is communicative skills, third one is empathy with the students, and the last one is availability of the resources. Okay. So the effective teacher emphasis on the learner-centered education, they educate the physical of the teaching, in which the students are given far more important role in the curriculum decision than the traditionally being the case. The factors which affecting the teaching related teachers are the teacher knowledge, which will play the important role here. If the teacher is not having a knowledge of the subject, then he or she will not perform his task effectively. The teacher who are fairly rooted in the subject knowledge make a clearance presentation and recognize the student's difficulty readily. They can handle the queries of the student effectively, right? If the student asks any query, then the teacher will be able to answer that question, right? Queries of the students. Then is a organization and a clarity. So here the organization is reflected in arranging the concept and the content to be taught in the systematic and orderly function that enables the student to understand in the better way. If a teacher arranges the content in a better way, then she can go through the sequence and student can understand that better. The teacher should have a better communication skill. Why I am saying this? Because if the teacher is not having a better communication skill, he will not able to communicate fluently or smoothly, and because of that the teaching will not create that effect, right? So communicative skill is again important here. Then there is a empathy. The teacher who is a warm and a friendly inspire and instead the positive attitude and the love of for a learning in their student. Such a teacher are known to be a more effective in term of a student, increase the attention, achievement, willingness to learn and a favorable attitude towards the content. So here the correct answer is option number D, that is availability of the resources is not a teacher related factor which affecting the teaching. Knowledge of the subject, communicative skill or empathy with the student, all these factors, these are related to the teacher. Okay. The most important quality of effective teacher is. So here in this question they ask you the important quality of effective teacher. Read the question carefully. So here they said most important. Okay. For this the first option is deep knowledge about the subject taught. Second one is the strict disciplinarian. Third one is good rapport with the student. And the last one is a good motivator. Okay. So teacher often play the various role in the life of the student. One of the key role played by the teacher is that of the motivator, right? So the motivation refer to the derived to be a something. As an effective teacher, it is essential to reward the student for the good work. When the student does something good, the teacher have to do the reward because this encourage the student, right? A teacher should encourage the student to become the self-motivated by giving a frequent and a positive feedback that support the belief that they can do well. The enthusiasm that the teacher brings the essential factor in the student motivation. The good teacher should become the external driver of the motivation for the student by welcoming the different perspective and accommodating the different needs. Okay. So here having a good knowledge about the subject is yes important, but it is not about the good motivator. So the correct answer is option number D. Okay. Which of the following skill you do consider most essential for the teacher? So here in this question they ask you, given which of the following skill do you consider the most essential for the teacher? For this the first option is ability to help the children understand the text thoroughly. Second one is ability to help the children to do all the exercises. Third one is ability to raise the possible action from the text, and the last one is ability to help the children from their own opinion on the texts. To create a successful education, good classroom management will be so needed because by applying this, the teacher can control, organize, access and prompt the class well. Based on the fact the role of a teacher in managing the classroom is needed by the teacher. The skill of an effective teacher. The teacher who is firmly rooted with the subject knowledge make a clear presentation and recognize the student difficulty readily. If the teacher is having a good knowledge of the subject, he will be able to teach the properly to the class and student will understand the things properly. Translate the knowledge into the appropriate curriculum of the assignment, test, game, lesson, demonstration. He or she should be able to undertake the application-oriented teaching as well. Clear presentation and explanation that tend to have a student to learn the more and also rate the teacher most positively. The most essential skill of a teacher having an ability to help the children from their own opinion on the text. Okay. So here the option D will be the correct answer here. The ability to help the children from their own opinion on the text is considered the most essential for a teacher. Which of the following is not true about the right kind of educator? So in this question they ask you, given which of the following is not the true about the right kind of educator? For this the first option is must not let the student make him their ideal. Second one is must free himself from the book and the laboratories. Third one is must not let the student to be engulfed in their own self-enclosing perquisite. And the last one is must look for the success of his student as a own success. Okay, so the quality of a teacher for a teaching effectively include the teacher behavior, knowledge regarding the subject matter, teacher belief, and a teacher dedication towards improving the student. So the essential qualities of the good teacher will be good motivational skills should be there, strong communication skills should be there, setting a good example for the others by making a teacher learning process is there. He must free himself from the books and the laboratories. He must not allow students to make him her ideal, and he must not let the student to engulf in their own self enclosing pursuit. Okay. So here the correct answer is option number D. That is must look for the success of his student as a own success. Which of the following is a direct method of adjustment? So here in this question they given you 4 options and they ask you given which of the following is the direct method of adjustment, for which the first option is projection, then is repression, then is regression, and the last one is substitution of the goals. The concept of adjustment oriented from the biological term adoption. The adjustment means the reaction to the dependent and pressure for the social environment, emphasis among the individual. The demand of which individual has a react may be the external and the internal. The direct method of the adjustment are substitution of the goal, then is accepting reality, analyzing problem situation, and the last one is diverting one's interest. So here the correct answer is option number D, that is substitution of the goal is a direct method of the adjustment. A teacher will become an effective communicator if. So here in this question they ask you a teacher will become the effective communicator if the first option is he used the instructional facilities. Second one is he helped the student to get the meaning out of what he teach. Third one is he asks the question in between the teaching, and the last one is he helped the student to get a correct answer to the question on the topic. So to become an effective communicator, the teacher should have a good communication skill. Okay, whatever he is teaching or she is teaching in the classroom, the student should understand that. Okay, so the correct answer here is option number B, that is he helped the student to get the meaning out of what he teach. Whatever topic he might be teaching in the classroom, that topic should be understood by the student. Okay. The most important indicator of quality of the education in an educational institute is. So here in this question they ask you the most important indicator of the quality of the education in an educational institute. For this the first option is infrastructural facilities of the school. Second one is classroom system. Third one is textbook and teaching learning material. And the last one is student achievement level. So when we have to judge the quality of the education in any educational institution, what we look for? we look for the student's achievement level, right? So the correct answer is option number D. Though the infrastructure facilities should be the good, classroom system should be the good, and a textbook and a teaching learning material should be there, but the most important indicator will be option number D. Which one of the following is the most important element in the teaching? So here in this question they ask you, given which of the following is the most important element in the teaching? For this the first option is relationship between the teachers and the student. Second one is subject matter. Third one is teaching technique and its use. And the last one is student knowledge. So here, improving student relationship with the teacher as an important, positive and a long-lasting implication for the student academic and social development. So the teacher should have a good relationship with the student, because to have a positive, long-lasting impact. So the correct answer for this question is option number A. Relationship between the teacher and a student. Teacher play an important role in the teaching learning process as what of the learning. So in this question they ask you, the teacher, the one who is teaching in the classroom, play the important role in the teaching learning process as what of the learning. For this the first option is facilitator, second one is participant, third one is advisor, and the last one is practitioner. Okay, the teacher is not only the act as a source of knowledge but also the act as a role model. We consider the teacher as a role model, right? The mentor or a advisor. A teacher can actively and wisely have a effect on the student life. The primarily teacher role in the classroom is to impart the knowledge to their student, which will help them to gain and learn the new thing about the specific or a general subject. So here the teacher role is of a facilitator. The teacher find a new way of understanding and support their student learning style, keeping in mind that a young mind are a individual on their own, so that they tend to have a different speed. The role of a teacher is to inspire, motivate, encourage and educate the learner. The teacher is a facilitator and not a director. Okay. We consider the teacher as a facilitator. So to assist the student to acquire and reorganize the knowledge. Being a source of a knowledge, a teacher is responsible for having a accurate and up-to-date knowledge concerning the subject matter. He or she is charged to be a nathless. It is also accepted from the teacher to be well informed about the current affair and the new development happening around the world. The teacher, one who is taking the lecture in the class, should have a knowledge about the current affair or a up-to-date information she should have, because any student, if they have a problem with a certain topic, they will obviously ask to the teacher, and teacher should have to answer the student. For this the teacher should have a knowledge about the subject. The answer here for this question is option number A. Teacher plays an important role in the teaching learning process as the facilitator of learning. Which learning theory provides support for the active participation of a learner in the learning process in an interactional setting with the intrinsic motivation as the basis? So in this question they given you some theory's name and they ask you, given which learning theory provide the support for the active participation of the learner in the learning process in an interactional setting with the intrinsic motivation as the basis. For this the first option is SR theory of Watson, second one is reinforcement theory of Skinner, third one is constructivist theory of Vygotsky, and the last one is insight theory of Kohler. Okay, So the first theory is all about the SR theory of Watson, which is also known as classical SR behaviorism. Okay, SR. Watson published the article Psychology as the Behaviorist Viv 8, also called a Behaviorist Manifesto. Okay, behavior is the result of stimulus response. Second one is reinforcement theory of the Skinner. So here the Skinner published the behavior of organism, also known as operant conditioning theory. Operant conditioning theory. Then there is constructivist theory of Vygotsky. Knowledge is a co-construct and a learn from one another. The learner must be engaged in the learning process. The Vygotsky acknowledgement intrinsic development, and there are three main aspects of a cognitive development through the social interaction. That is, cultural is a significant in the learning. Then is a language is the root of culture, and individual learn and develop within their role in the community. Okay, this is the theory of Vygotsky. And the last one is insight theory of Kohler, the immediate and a clear learning or a understanding that take place without a trial and error testing. Insight occur in the human learning when the people recognize the relationship which that help them to solve the new problem. The correct answer for this question is option number C, that is a constructivist theory of Vygotsky. Identify the factor affecting the teaching related to the positive learning environment in the institution. So here in this question they given you some options and they told you to identify the factors which are affecting the teaching related to the positive learning environment in the institution, for which the first option is the extent to which a teachers make a clear presentation. Second one is the scope for sharing and open discussion within the classroom and the institution as such. Third is teacher mastery of the content as reflected in answering the student and questions. Fourth one is frequent use of positive reinforces either in the institution or a classroom. And the last one is availability of the teacher and his or her guidance. For this they given you the code, and from this code you have to select the correct one. Okay, so here the teacher educational qualification of a teacher highly affected the learning. There is a huge difference between the teacher with a professional teaching degree and without the professional degree, right? A teacher should have a mastery of a skill like a communication, use of the teaching aid, selection of an appropriate teaching method, and a passion for the teaching. If one teacher is there who don't have any interest in the teaching, will that teacher will teach effectively? No, right? Because the teacher is not having the interest only. So the teacher should have a skills like a communication. The communication skill should be there. Okay. Then there is the teacher, one who is teaching should use a teaching aid. Should choose the appropriate teaching method. Okay, and should have a passion for the teaching. Learner or psychological differences in a learner play a very important role in a teaching learning process. The learner attitude, aptitude, motivation, mental health, the goal in his life highly affected the learning. And the learning environment, the interaction of a learner with the teacher and the other peer is important for the active participation in the classroom learning that has to be maintained by both teacher and learner. The social and the economic background of the teacher and learner directly and indirectly affect their thinking. The motivation in the classroom is important. The teacher is an important person inside the classroom to motivate the child and provide the reward to induce interest in the learner. The correct answer for this question is option number D, that is 2 and 4 is included. The scope for sharing and open discussion within the classroom and the institution as such, and frequent use of positive reinforces either in the institute or the classroom. What is SWAYAM? So in this question they ask you about the SWAYAM. Okay. So the first option here is non-governmental organization. Second one is digital program to achieve the principle of education. Third one is online platform, and the last one is name of the website. Okay. So when we are talking about the SWAYAM, what is the full form of SWAYAM? That is a basic question here. The full form of SWAYAM is Study Web of Active Learning for a Young Aspiring Mind. Okay. Study webs of active learning for young aspiring mind. So this is a full form of the SWAYAM. Okay. That offer the course in the various fields like engineering, social science, etc. Okay, and this program is initiated by the government of the India and designed to achieve the three cardinal principles of a education policy, that is access, quality and equity. Access, quality and equity. And the objective is to take a best teaching learning resources to all, including the most disadvantages. It is a open online course and all the courses are interactive, prepared by the best teacher in the country and are available free of cost to any of the learner. Okay. So here the correct answer for this question will be option number 2, that is it is a digital program to achieve the principle of education. Which among the following is the massive open online course platform which is created by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of the India? So here they given you the 4 options and they ask you, given which of the following is the massive open online course platform which is created by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of the India? So the first option here is Pratham, second one is Swayam, third one is Future Learn and the last one is Open Learn. So here as I told you, the full form of SWAYAM is Study Web of Active Learning for the Young Aspiring Mind, is a MOOC that offer the courses in the various fields like engineering, humanity, social science, and this program is actually initiated by the Government of India and it is designed to achieve the 3 cardinal principles, that is access, equity and quality. And all the courses are interactive, which is prepared by the best teacher in the country and is available free of cost. Okay, this is a main point here, that it is available free of cost. There is no any cost or the fee. Okay. The various steps that has been taken to enrich the learning experience by using the audio, visual and multimedia and state-of-the-art pedagogy or a technology. The SWAYAM is the instrument for the self-actualization. Provided opportunity for a lifelong learning. The SWAYAM uses for the unique educational opportunity to expand the horizon of the knowledge. Okay. So the answer here is option number 2, that is SWAYAM. SWAYAM is massive open online course platform which is created by Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. Identify the skills needed by the present day teacher to make a classroom teaching more effective. So here in this question they told you to identify the skills which is needed by the teachers in the present day to make a classroom teaching more effective, for which the first option here is knowledge of technology, second one is use of technology in the classroom transaction, third one is knowledge of a student needs, and the last one is content mastery. Okay, so here the use of technology in the classroom transaction is a very important nowadays. The teaching in a classroom helps the teacher to create a more learner-centric learning environment. The technology provides the different opportunities to make the learning more fun and enjoyable. Okay, so then is knowledge of a student needs. The students come from the wide range of the experience and the situation. They determine how they react to the classroom activity and the classroom management procedure. Although the school should provide a place of a safety and a security, they often provide the opportunity for a student on the student bullying and inappropriate interaction between the student. And that is a content of the knowledge. If the teacher is having a good content of knowledge, then she or he will be able to make his or her lecture more interesting. Okay. Here the content knowledge also include the body of knowledge and the information that a teacher teach and the student are expected to learn in the given subject or a content area. Okay. So here the correct answer for this question will be option number 3. That is use of technology in the classroom transaction, knowledge of a student need and a content mastery is a skills which are needed by a present day teacher to make a classroom teaching more effective. Having a knowledge of a technology is important but it is not necessary, and because of that we can't include knowledge of technology in the answer. Massive open online course. So here in this question they ask you about the massive open online course, for which the first option is flexible and open form of self-directed online learning designed for the mass participation. Second one is flexible and open form of teacher-directed online learning designed for the mass participation. Third one is flexible and open form of self-directed offline learning designed for the mass participation. And the last one is flexible and open form of teacher-directed offline learning designed for the mass participation. So here the massive open online course are the one of the most prominent trend in the higher education in the recent year. The term massive open online course represent the open access, global, then is self-directed, free, video-based instructional content, videos, problem set, and a forum release through the online platform to a high volume participant. The massive open online course provide the new way of the learning, which is a open, participatory, distributed and a lifelong. The answer here for this question is option number 1. Massive open online course is a flexible and open form of self-directed online learning designed for the mass participation. The main purpose of using ICT for classroom teaching is. So here in this question they ask you the main purpose of using the ICT for the classroom teaching is. For which the first option is make the classroom instruction interesting. Second one is divert student attention in the class. third one is keep student engaged in the class, and last one is optimize learning outcome of teaching. So here when we are talking about the benefits of a ICT application in the classroom, it includes that ICT may be a great use of achieving the various objectives. Through the ICT we can achieve various objectives of teaching learning process. Then is ICT provide the variety in the presentation of content which help the learner to learn according to their own space. Okay. It optimize the learning refer to the model which improve the outcome of the learning, grabs the greater attention of the students. Greater attention. And there is a growing evidence that applying the ICT in the education can accelerate and enhance the learning on all the front. Okay. So here the correct answer for this question is option number 4. The main purpose of using the ICT for a classroom teaching is to optimize the learning outcome of teaching. What is the best use of internet in teaching? So here in this question they ask you the best use of internet in a teaching, for which the first option is for presenting content through audio visual media. Second one is for providing latest information. Third one is for saving time and the energy of a teacher, and the last one is for making learning interactive. Okay. So here the student teacher and a peer interaction, the interest has allowed student to be a constant touch with the teach or with the other fellow classmate with the help of a social media, messaging app and a chat forum. The effective teaching and a learning tool, the learning process become a interesting and a diverse with the help of the internet. Okay. So here we can say that the best use of internet in the teaching is for making the learning interactive. Okay. CAI stand for. So here in this question they ask you the full form of CAI, and the options given are: first one is computer analyze instruction, second one is computer assist instruction, third one is computer assist interview, and the last one is computer analyze interview. The CAI refer to the use of computer as a tools to facilitate and improve the instruction. Use of computer. The CAI program used a drill and a practice stimulation and a problem solving approaches to the present topic, and they test the student understanding text or a multimedia content, multiple choice question, and note on the incorrect responses. So here the correct answer for this question is option number B, that is CAI stand for computer assist instruction. Which among the following is the different from the characteristic of the good test? So here in this question they ask you given which of the following is a different from the characteristic of the good test, means which is not the characteristic of the good test, for which the first option is reliability, then is validity, then is objectivity, and the last one is aptitude. The tests are a device to gather the information. Okay, to gather information through some specific task presented to the individual. We come across the various type of a test in the education, that is a oral test is there, written test is there, practical test is there, right? Group or the individual or a performance. Sometimes the examination is also used to means of a device or a test. So here the characteristic of a good test will be validity is the one, then is reliability is included in that, then is a usability which is not given here, Usability is one of the characteristic, and objectivity is also the characteristic of a good test. But the aptitude will be not included here. So here the answer for this question is option number 4. That is, aptitude is a different from the characteristic of good test. Which of the following cognitive research thrust tool allow the individual to choose the number of different possibilities and alternatives? So in this question they ask you, given which of the following is the cognitive research thrust tool which allow the individual to choose from the number of different possibilities and alternative, for which the first option is plus minus interesting, that is PMI. Second one is alternatives possibility choices, that is APC. Third one is consider all the factor, that is CAF, and the last one is first important. So here cognitive research thrust is a tool to access the implementation of higher order thinking skill. In the teaching learning process, it is a design to enhance the different aspect of the thinking in the student for a crucial cognitive development. The first important priority, that is FIP, is the cognitive research thrust tool that allow the individual to choose from the number of different possibilities and alternative. It is about giving the priority to an idea to deal with the situation for the positive consequences. So the answer here for this question will be option number 4, that is first important, which is also known as FIP. After preparing a test, if a teacher repeatedly administers it on the children of the same age group in order to find out the consistency of a test score, he is looking for the test. So in this question they ask you, after preparing the test, if a teacher, the one who is taken the test, is repeatedly administer it on the children from the same age group in order to find out the consistency of the test score, he is looking for the test, for which the first option is validity, second one is reliability, third one is objectivity, and the last one is utility. The test work as a tools. Okay, it work as a tool in order to measure the students' level of knowledge. And it also helps to adjust the learning material accordingly. The validity, reliability, and the objectivity are the characteristic of the good test. So the answer here for this question is option number 4, that is utility. Which of the following is related to summative evaluation? So in this question they ask you, given which is related to the summative evaluation, for which the first option is provide a teacher with continuous and immediate feedback about the student's progress. Second one is focus on molecular analysis of instructional material. Third one is ongoing of systematic assessment of learners' achievement. And the last one is terminal assessment of a learner's performance at the end of the session. Okay. So here the continuous and the comprehension evaluation, which is also known as CCE, has been introduced as a school-based system for the evaluation by the CBSE in 2009 with the enactment of the Right to Education Act. The summative evaluation is a commonly known as assessment of learning and it is a type of the evaluation. It measures, certifies and reports the level of a student learning by assessing them at the end of the term. So the answer here for this question is option number 4, that is terminal assessment of learners' performance at the end of a session is related to summative evaluation. Which of the following is not the limitation of the achievement test? So in this question they given you the 4 options and they ask you given which is not the limitation of the achievement test. For which the first option is score in the achievement test may not be exact measure of the achievement. Second one is factor like standard of a teaching, completion of the curriculum may not be measured. Third one is it is a good for the critical examination of the content and the method of teaching. And the last one is achievement score of the student differ in the similar type of a achievement test. So here the achievement tests are administered on the student to measure their learning outcome. These tests are more prevalent in the school and these tests show the what has been learned by the student rather than the predict the future performance. The achievement test can be used for the to know the learning process of the student, checking any weakness in the instruction. Okay, the formulation of a learning objective and provide the easy means of a critical examination of the content and the method of the teaching. The answer here for this question will be option number 3, that is it is a good for the critical examination of the content and the method of teaching is not a limitation of the achievement test. In what the role of measurement is to provide it an overview or achievement across the number of the skill. For which the first option is formative evaluation, second one is summative evaluation, third one is diagnostic evaluation and the last one is none of the above. The evaluation is a systematic process of collecting, analyzing and interpreting the evidence of a student progress and achievement. The continuous evaluation is required in the teaching for the successful learning and it need to be integrated with the process of a teaching and learning. The evaluation can be formative, summative or a diagnostic based on what one want to achieve. Okay. So the formative evaluation and the summative evaluation is a types of the evaluation. When we are talking about a formative evaluation, it takes place during the formation of the learning, okay, and it is regarded as a part of a teaching learning process and the purpose behind a formative evaluation is to determine the degree of mastery of a given learning task and to pinpoint the part of a task is not mastered. And a summative evaluation which is taken at the end of the term, that is called a summative evaluation. The purpose behind the summative evaluation is to assess the overall effectiveness of the program implemented. And the purpose of the summative evaluation is also include it determine whether the pupil has completed a particular course successfully or the not. And the role of evaluation is to provide the overview and the achievement across the number of the skill. It also provide the feedback to whom? To student and a teacher, and it is also useful in predicting the success in the absent course. So the answer here for this question is option number 2, that is summative evaluation. Okay. During teaching, a teacher's statement that encourages the student to elaborate on the answer, either their own or that of the others, will be called. So here in this question they ask you, while the teaching or during the teaching, the teacher's statement which encourages the student to elaborate on the answer, either their own or that of the other, will be called. And for this, the first option is structuring, second one is instructional variety, third one is engagement in the learning process, and last one is probing. So here the probing is a teaching skill. And the teacher pretend to ask the question and to the question in a response to the answer to the student. The questions against the initial answer to the student encourage the student to elaborate on the concept. The student required to articulate more attribute about the topic. The example here which we can take is, why do you think it is important? So here we are giving a chance to the student to elaborate on the question. Okay. So whatever the student is going to be answer, they will elaborate on that. Okay. They will say their point. Okay. So the correct answer here will be option number 4, that is probing. The purpose of evaluation is. So here in this question they ask you the purpose of the evaluation, for which the first option is to label children as slow learner and gift children. Second one is to identify children who needed remediation. Third one is to diagnose learning difficulty and problem area. And the last one is to provide a feedback on the extent to which we have been successfully in imparting the education for a productive life. So the evaluation is the process. Now process of what? Process of collecting the information and making a decision. It is nothing but gathering the data and the evidence of the student progress and achievement, not only in the formal examination but also involved in analyzing characteristics of the student's learning. And evaluation is a use to give a feedback to the extent that we can best quality education for the quality life. To check the learning is taking place as a plan. It offers the equal opportunity to each student to display their potential. Okay. That means the correct answer here will be option number 4. To provide a feedback on the extent to which we have been successfully in imparting education for a productive life. Assessment for learning uses the idea of. So here in this question they ask you assessment for a learning uses the ideas of given which, for which the first option is summative assessment, second one is formative assessment, third one is norms reference assessment, and the last one is assessment of the learning. So here the assessment for a learning is the process for a looking for and interpreting the evidence for a use of learner and their teacher to decide where the learner are in their learning, where they need to go and how best to get there. And this is known as the formative assessment. Okay. The assessment of a learning occurs when the teacher uses the evidence of the student learning to make a judgment on the student achievement against the goal and the standard, and this is known as a summative assessment. Okay. So as we know that the assessment of a learning is the process for looking and interpreting the evidence for the use of a learner and the teacher to decide where the student are in their learning, where they need to go and how best they get there, and this is known as a formative assessment. Okay. So because of that the correct answer for this question will be option number 2. Assessment for a learning uses the ideas of formative assessment. Which of the following is not correct about the ICT? So here in this question they ask you given which is not correct about the ICT, for which the first option is ICT is a modern teaching aid. Second one is using of ICT in teaching reduce the physical labor a teacher, and the third one is ICT is the substitute for the teacher, and the last one is ICT in the teaching facilitator learning. So here the ICT provide the information and communication technology for the people to connect and learn. It has an essential role to play in the education sector. The explosive growth of the internet has brought the force of Advertising the message spread online. The ICT is the package of the software and hardware system. Often equipped with the digital aid on the aid a teaching methodology and enhance the quality of the education in the interactive process. Is the aid the teaching? It's a modern innovation and the latest technology tools. Okay. And the ICT aid in the teaching process is not intended to replace the teacher. The role of a teacher in the teaching and the learning process is a vital. Okay, the use of a information and a communication technology, that is a ICT, as a tool in this process does not always with the role of the teacher. The shift in the role of a teacher utilization ICT to that of the facilitator does not obey the needs of a teacher to serve as a leader in the classroom. Traditional teacher leadership skill and practice are still important. Okay. So the correct answer is option number 3, that is ICT is substitute for the teacher will not correct here. Continuous and comprehensive evaluation mainly aim at promoting. So here in this question they ask you about the continuous and a comprehensive evaluation mainly aims at promoting, for which the first option is competition among the children, second one is competition among teachers, third one is academic excellence among children, and last one is inclusive education. The continuous and a comprehensive evaluation, which is also known as CCE, which has been introduced as a school-based system of the evaluation by the CBSE in year 2009. The continuous and a comprehensive evaluation mainly aim at promoting inclusive evaluation. Okay. Emphasizing the continuous and regulatory assessment is again the aim of CCE, assessing both the scholastic and co-scholastic aspect of the child growth regarding the method of a learning to make a required improvement. So here the correct answer for this question is option number 4, that is inclusive evaluation. By reflective teaching learner. So here in this question they ask you about the reflective teaching learner, for which the first option is update skill to be a competent, second one is will be good achiever in his examination, third one is will internalize knowledge and judgmental, and the last one is will get the content mastery. Okay. So when we are talking about a reflective teaching or a reflective level of teaching, which is also known as ULT, most thoughtful level, okay, and it is a problem centric approach to the teaching. So here if somebody asks you what is a problem centric approach to the teaching, then answer will be reflective level of the teaching. Okay. The reflective model of a teaching is developed by Hunt. At this level, the student is made to face the real problematic. The student, by understanding the situation and using his creative ability, success in the solving the problem. At this level, the emphasis is laid down on identifying the problem, defining it and finding the solution for it. The student original thinking and the creative ability develop at this stage. The students here will play the important role. Okay. The aim is to develop the reflective power of a learner so that they can solve the problem of their life by reasoning, logic, imagination, and lead a successful and a happy life. Okay. By reflective teaching, the learner will internalize the knowledge and will be a judgmental. So the answer here will be internalize knowledge and be judgmental. A teacher should identify what and teach accordingly. So here in this question they ask you, a teacher one who is teaching in the classroom should identify what and teach accordingly. And for this the first option here is economic condition of the student. Second one is individual differences among the students. Third one is economic condition of the parents, and the last one is individual differences among the parents. So we consider the teacher is an importance variable, right? Why we consider the teacher as an important variable? Because the teacher is the one who play the important role in the life of student, right? A teacher helps the student to understand the concept and build a better knowledge. A teacher should understand the learning ability of the student and the individual differences among the student and teach accordingly. If the when the teacher is teaching in the classroom and if there is a student who is a slow learner, okay, so the teacher have to think about that children or about that child and teach accordingly. So the teacher one who is teaching can't go too fast or can't go too slow. So teacher have to understand everybody's mind, okay, the individual differences among the learner. A teacher should consider all the individual differences of the student before planning the lesson, since the each student is a different. Okay, the every student in the class will not be the same. Each student have a different capacity, different ability, right? So we consider the each student is a different. They understand and learn with their own speed. So what will be the answer here? So the answer will be option number 2. Okay, the teacher should identify individual differences among the students and teach accordingly. Reflective teaching is. So in this question they ask you about a reflective teaching or what is reflective teaching, and for this they given you the 4 options, in which the first option is it is a cyclic process of a thinking about the learning. Second one is linear process of thinking about teaching. Third one is cyclic process of thinking about the teaching, and the last one is linear process of thinking about learning. So here the reflective teaching is the process where the teacher reflects on what is being taught by him or her in the classroom. Okay. So the teacher examines the effectiveness. What teacher is doing? He examines the effectiveness of the approach adopted by him. Thus, the detailed evaluation and the analysis of teaching practice and think of the way to improve it. Reflective teaching is a cyclical process of thinking about the teaching, because here a teacher continuously thinks about his or her teaching and way to improve it. Okay. So here what teacher is doing is a continuously thinking. About his or her teaching. So how he can improve it? Reflective teaching is a great method used by the seasoned and the new teacher to improve their method of teaching. So here the correct answer will be option number 3. That is, it is a cyclical process of thinking about the teaching. Why? Because here the teacher is continuously thinking about his or her teaching and how he or she can improve it. Okay. Which of the following is not applicable to the internal assessment? So here in this question they given you the 4 options and they ask you, given which of the following is not applicable to the internal assessment. So read the question carefully. Here they ask you about the not applicable. Okay. And for this question they given you the options, in which the first option is integration of the teaching and the evaluation. Second one is testing of a skills and ability. Third one is periodic and continuous testing, and the last one is use of only achievement test. So now understand what is internal assessment. So here the internal assessment is the process, okay, in which the teacher and the institute judge the student performance on the basis of his performance. Achievement test is a test of a development skill and a knowledge. So we consider the achievement test as a test of development and knowledge. And the most common type of achievement test is a standardized test developed to measure the skills and knowledge. Okay. The answer here for this question is option number 4. Use of only achievement test is not applicable to the internal assessment. What is the very important in the process of learning? So here in this question they given you the 4 options and they ask you given which is the very important in the process of learning. So for this the first option is school atmosphere, second one is infrastructure, third one is previous knowledge and the last one is teacher's personality. So if we look carefully, so all these things are important, but it asks you which is very important. Please read the question carefully. Okay. So according to the Devi, 1933 experience and the reflection in the action are the most important requirement of the learning. The prior knowledge has long been considered the most important factor influencing the learning and the student achievement. So here the prior knowledge played a very important role in the teaching learning process or the student achievement. The amount and the quality of the prior knowledge positively influence and both the knowledge acquisition and the capacity apply to the higher order cognitive problem solving skill. The previous knowledge and the experience of the learner are directly related to the teaching process. Why? Because if we know about certain concept, then it will be easy to understand that concept, right? So we say that the previous knowledge is a very important in the process of the learning. So here the answer will be option number 3, that is previous knowledge. So if we look at another option, that is school atmosphere and infrastructure, they are related to the learning environment. Both are related to learning environment, and it is a truth that this factor have some impact on the learning but not primarily. And if we look at the teacher's personality, the personality of the teacher is the quality of the teacher. So this is a quality of teacher and not the quality of the learner. Effective teacher. So in this question they ask you about a effective teacher. For this the first option is allow the student to ask question. Second one is complete syllabus within the time. Third one is provide variety of a learning experience. And the last one is explain everything to the absent student. Learning experience refer to any interaction, course, program or other experience in which learning takes place. When the learner is exposed to a multiple learning experience, their learning improves. So the effective teacher will be a person who provides a variety of the learning experience. That means correct answer here will be option number 3. That is, it provides a variety of learning experience. If your student have a problem related to the learning your subject, then the best solution is. So in this question they ask you, imagine that you are a teacher and if your student have a problem related to the learning with your subject, then what will be the best solution according to these options? Okay, for this first option here is increasing homework, second one is supervised study, third one is diagnostic teaching, and the last one is frequent assessment. So here the diagnostic teaching help in relieving in the individual weakness and the strength. In a certain course of the study, and the main aim behind the diagnostic teaching is the determine the cause of learning problem and to formulate plan for the remedial action. It plays a significant role in the improving the learning outcome for the student, and it will be a pinpoint on the types of error that were along with their causes. It helped to determine the student's level of knowledge, skill and understanding at the beginning of the course, grade level, unit and a lesson. Here the teacher analyzes the student on what they already know, means the previous knowledge, and adjust the curriculum to meet the needs of the student. So here the answer will be option number 3. If your student have a problem related to the learning with your subject, then the best solution is the diagnostic teaching. In which level of teaching the learner get an opportunity to discriminate the length between the positive and the negative explainer of the concept. So here in this question they given you the levels of the teaching. So please remember the different levels of a teaching. So there is a memory level is there, then there is a understanding level, then a reflective level is there, and a autonomous development level is also there. So in this question they ask you, given which of the methods or in a level the learner get the opportunity to discriminate the length between the positive and the negative explainer of the concept. So here when we talk about the memory level, it is a thoughtless teaching. Which we use to the primary level, okay, where we are trying to memorize the things. Second one is understanding level of teaching. The teaching at the understanding level is a higher quality than one at the memory level. It is a more useful or a thoughtful from the point of view of a mental capacity. Okay, here the learner is trying to understand the things. Then is a reflective level. This level is also known as a introspective level. Once the student memorize the things, then he understand the things, and then he try to reflect the things. Okay, reflective level is a useful to the higher level of education. And the last one is a autonomous level, development level. Autonomous means the ability to take a control on one's own learning. And the autonomous learner will take more responsibility of a learning and is likely to more effective than the learner who is relevant on the teacher. The focus of a concern is effective and effects and the feelings. Here the correct answer is option number B, that is understanding level. In the understanding level of a teaching, the learner get the opportunity to discriminate at the length between the positive and the negative explainer of the concepts. The selection of teaching aid depend largely on. So here they ask you about the selecting of the teaching aid, which is largely depend on which of the given factor. So for this, the first option is age of the student, second one is interest of the student, third one is age and the motivation of the student, and the last one is educational level and the age of the student. First, understand what is teaching aid. So here the teaching aids are the object, okay, or the device which is used by the teacher to enhance the classroom instruction. That will be the audio-visual teaching aid, such as videos or a guest lecture. Okay. And in today's era, the traditional classroom teaching is a shift to the online teaching, and therefore the digital tools are used as a teaching aid. For example, we use the videos, we use the audios, right? We use the PPTs while teaching. That all these things are the teaching aid. Now, using of the teaching aid is a largely depend on which of the following factor they are asking you. So it will be on the educational level and the age of the student. So why the educational level and the age of the student? Supposing if the student is or a child is learning in the class first or in KG level, we can't show the big videos or a big chart because the student will not understand anything, right? The student will get the confused. So the education level and the age of the student matters while selecting the teaching aid. So therefore the correct answer for this question will be option number 4. Selection of teaching aid depends largely on education level and the age of the student. The communication process is active and interactive at a very high level in which of the following level of the teaching. So here in this question they ask you about the communication process which is active and interactive at the very high level in which of the given level of the teaching. For this the first option is reflective level, then the understanding level is there, then memory level, and the last one is the autonomous development level. So the reflective level of the teaching is the main proponent of a reflective level of a teaching is a Hunt. Please remember this. It is a proponent by the Hunt. And it is the highest level of the teaching which involves the use of the problem-centric approach. The classroom environment is open at this level of the teaching. It leads to the development of the creative skill. It develops the skill of a learner by solving the real life problem. The techniques used are student-centered. Okay. So here the correct answer is option number A, that is reflective level. Here is the question which I asked you in my previous lecture. The question was, as a teacher, you have to collect the information about the intelligence, personality, classroom behavior of the student by using the appropriate test and a checklist. This process is called. So imagine you are the teacher and now you have to collect the information about the intelligence of the student, the personality of the student, and the classroom behavior, how the students are behaving in the classroom by using the appropriate test and a checklist. Okay, and this process is called as, for which the first option is assessment, second one is measurement, third one is evaluation, and the last one was all. So here the assessment will be the correct answer. Assessment is the process of collecting relevant information on the student learning. It is an integral part of the teaching learning process. Assessment is conducted in the different phase of our teaching learning process. Okay. The assessment process measures the personality, the attitude, cognitive, social functioning and the intelligence of the student. The psychological assessment is the process of testing that uses the combination of test and a technique to get the idea of the person and their behavior, personality and capabilities. So the option 1 will be the correct answer here.